Okay, a very good day to all of you. My name is Narayan Selvaratnam and you are watching Deep Heaven Counseling. Now today we are going to have a discussion about a new topic, and that is about chatbots. Can chatbots be used in psychotherapy? So I'm not going to give any specific opinion here. I'm not going to say anything about replacing the therapists with chatbots or anything like that. So I'm not going to say anything like that or anything of that nature. But I'm just giving you the options so that you can have understanding whether chatbots can be considered to maybe complement the ongoing therapeutic interventions maybe currently you are taking, or if you are thinking of going for therapy in future. Now, so I have some notes here, so I'm going to just go through them as we have this discussion today. Now, what are the benefits of having a proper chatbot or a particular software which is enabled using chatbots to give you therapy? So are chatbots really good, and can they really do something that therapists can't? Or do you think even though therapists can do a better job, do you still think chatbots are certain elements that can be used to augment the therapy process? Now we are going to discuss about that. See, the first thing is chatbots are very accessible. It is something that you have on your phone. So what it means is you can use it as much as you want. Sometimes you can, of course, use these particular chatbots to obtain emotional support. And in addition to that, since it is always available, you can do quite a lot with that. You can have a discussion with your chatbot, and it is pretty much having that conversation. Now, apart from accessibility, the other component is this is very affordable. Now, in our part of the world, at least in Sri Lanka, therapy is not that expensive. Usually, a session of therapy would be anything from 2,500 to 7,500. And people who are on the higher side of the spectrum is very low. And there are a lot of free counseling services as well. I think if you go to most of the district government offices, they have at least one or two counselors, which will they will provide 100% free counseling also. So in certain parts of the world, this might look like expensive, but in certain parts of the world, definitely chatbots are pretty affordable, because certain therapists provide psychotherapy on an hourly rate, where the rate could be anything from $100 to $250, $300. So if that's the case, so this is then affordable. And in addition to that, this is very consistent. It's a consistent form of giving therapy, because the chatbot can keep on monitoring your progress, and in addition to that, the chatbot is always there with you. So it is consistent, and also the other thing is very similar to usual therapy, the traditional or the conventional therapy. This thing can also be made personalized to the client, or you can, customize it. There could be a lot of other elements as well. Specifically, if you do your journaling can be done on the software itself or the application itself, because chatbot is not just a bot, it comes within a specific like an application or a software. So your journaling and all of that can be integrated to that. And then if we are to assess the progression, the positive improvements of the client, that also can be done on the same platform. If we are to give behavioral exercises, the exercises can be integrated to the same system. In addition to that, if you think about even assessing the mental state of the client, even that can be integrated as well to the same system. So you are talking about an ecosystem. It's not just one particular bot having a conversation, but it can be used to do some assessments. It can be used to, think about assess the mental status of the client. And the other good thing is, now this has so much of data. So your symptoms or your thoughts or your negative ideas or whatever is compared against hundreds and thousands of people. So this could also be very precise. So that's also another advantage of using chatbots, not just the chatbot, but the entire software or the application. And the other thing is, this continues to learn more about you, and at the same time, this is very efficient. Now, here's the question. Although this is efficient, can this do the same thing a therapist would do? One could say, yes, now a therapist can challenge your thoughts. A therapist can help you see different things. That kind of reasoning is not available in chatbots. Well, for the time being, that could be the thing. But I am very sure at least in the next 2 to 3 years, these changes also will come. Now, let me tell you why. CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, can be delivered via a chatbot. And I'll explain you how exactly we are going to do this. Now, there are 4 elements in language, 4 major elements. So I used a book called Psychology of Language by David Carroll. You can also read this book. I'll give the reference below in the commentary as well. So according to this book, there are 4 major elements in language. The first one is phonology, which means every language is made of little speech sounds. So these speech sounds get together and create the bigger words. So the bigger words are what we call semantics. So semantics is like the second component, phonology, semantics, and then we have the syntax. So every language has some grammar rules. So whatever the words that you have, you put them on grammar structures so that you can effectively communicate your ideas. And these ideas have to fit the social protocols and the general people expectations and all of that, which is what we call pragmatics. So phonology, semantics, syntax, pragmatics, these are the 4 major elements of language, which is already achieved in natural language processing as well. So NLP, so everyone talks about it these days. And I am not going to talk about NLP, but I'm talking about just basic linguistics. My understanding on NLP is very low. I was watching some videos by a few other YouTubers for me to understand what exactly NLP is, but I can tell you how the general linguistics, what exactly it says about the language. Now, those are the 4 elements of language. So what happens is, as you see, language has a very clear structure. This structure is very similar to the structure of a thought. Now, think like this. Your mind gets all these thoughts, right? Negative or positive, your mind gets these thoughts. A thought has a very distinctive structure, and that is very similar to the structure of a language. So this particular idea was first put forward in a theory called the computational theory of mind. Now, what does this say? It says that your mind actually computes these kind of thoughts because just like language, the thoughts also get generated because thoughts have a structure similar to that of language. Because language can be computed there as well. If you have a set of sentences, using that sentence, you can compute a lot of other sentences as well. Now, let me show you that first. Let me show you how a sentence can be computed so that you can understand how thoughts can be computed as well. And then we have some understanding as to why I am saying CBT can be provided through chatbots. Okay. Now, think about the sentence, the cat sat on the mat. Okay. The cat sat on the mat. Now, let's focus on this sentence. The cat sat on the mat. So the sentence has a noun phrase and a verb phrase. So the noun phrase is the cat, which consists of a determiner and the noun. And then sat on the mat has a verb, and then again it has another prepositional phrase. Now, the verb is sat, the prepositional phrase is on the mat. So this on the mat again has a preposition plus the mat, again that's a noun phrase, so it has a determiner and also a noun. Now, this is just the simple set of components in the sentence, the cat sat on the mat. There are clear 11 steps or clear 11 components that gives rise to this sentence, the cat sat on the mat. Now, these are rules. Because of these rules, due to the existence of these rules, you can compute sentences very effectively, and it all complies with the same grammar structures and the same exact methods. Now, this particular style of sentence derivation is emphasized in the Chomskyan grammar. And in addition to that, you will find similar examples on the book I mentioned as well by David Carroll on Psychology of Language. Now, since there's a very clear structure, additional sentences can be developed. For example, if I say, the cat sat on Dave's mat, I am saying the cat sat on Dave's mat. But due to the computational capacity of your mind, because thoughts are similar to that of language because they have similar structures, when I say that the cat sat on Dave's mat, You can also think Dave, of course, has a mat as well. Maybe the cat doesn't belong to Dave, but Dave definitely has a mat. I'm not saying Dave has a mat, I'm saying the cat sat on Dave's mat. So the moment when I say this, it is your mind that computes the rest of the sentences. For example, think now the David Carroll book has an example where he mentions that somebody donated a large sum of money to a non-profit organization. When I say somebody donated a large sum of money to a non-profit organization, the thought that this person has so much of money automatically comes to your mind. I am not saying it, but it comes to your mind. The main reason is the thoughts, of course, get computed. Very similar to language getting computed, your thoughts also get computed because the main reason is they have very similar structures. Now, if this is the case, the chatbots that use natural language processing can also identify negative thoughts, dysfunctional thoughts, maladaptive thoughts, and a whole lot of other things in people. If it can be identified, it definitely can be challenged as well in the same system, both cognitively and also behaviorally. We can challenge the thoughts of the clients by giving exercises like beating self-criticism, identifying maintenance cycles and whatnot. And also we can give them behavioral exercises. Now, if all these things can be integrated to one single software, it's going to be, epic. So do we have any such softwares as of now? No. Have I used any softwares like that? Yes. There's a software called Replica. I have used that. I have the subscription as well. Does it have all of these options? No. It can engage in a conversation and you can dial and talk to the chatbot as well, which is very nice. But the thing is, the chatbot doesn't seem to remember so much of information about you, and it makes some errors in the conversation, so which gets you to always know that, okay, this is not a real person that you are talking to. But if these things are adjusted, if the chatbot can engage in a decent conversation, if the chatbot can remember the information that you are saying, well, simple errors, of course, are okay because that's how even a normal therapist might make simple mistakes. And if the chatbot can be more reflective, if the chatbot can show more empathy and all of this, I think it's going to be a game changer because, see, the human element is part and parcel of psychotherapy. But the line between a chatbot and a human gets blurred the more the chatbots mimic the proper language styles that we have. The more it learns these linguistic techniques, the more it learns about how to have these nicer conversations, this line gets really blurred. Now, this is why I'm saying innovation is really required for psychotherapy. I know sometimes you might not agree with me what I'm saying right now, but I see some good potential in this field, and I see some good potential of using chatbots for psychotherapy as well. So if that's the case, as therapists, you and I should think about a method to stay relevant in this field. If we are not going to stay relevant, then boy, that is our problem. But then again, it is my responsibility of informing you things that we see in our field. So if you are a student, I would really encourage you to do something about that rather than going full blown, like discouraging use of chatbots or saying, it's not effective and things like that. The world is changing and we might as well change as well. But in a positive way, there are issues as well because privacy is, of course, the issue. And ethicality of all of this is something that is still not addressed. So there needs to be new law addressing how these things have to be implemented in countries. So what exactly is meant by the use of these chatbots, because there needs to be someone who supervises these things as well. So there needs to be new law prepared for all of this. But I think this is a good start because if someone is in severe distress, even the authorities can be notified via the app in that kind of situation. So I think there's quite a lot that we can do through these things, which will cut down costs of a lot of day-to-day work and a lot of conventional methods that we have been doing. But while cutting on some of those day-to-day jobs, it also addresses some key components as well. about taking good care of people and ensuring continuous care for clients. So I'm not a fan of cutting jobs because this is affecting me as much as it affects you. But then again, there are certain positive trends, and we have to be proactive and we have to get prepared as well. So that's the purpose of this video. And I will come up with a similar video in the next week or sometime later. So that's pretty much it from my end for today. I think I was able to address some important topic today as well. So thank you for watching Deep Haven Counseling, and then I'll see you again in a similar video in future. Thank you very much.